morning, everybody. We'll get started now, and I appreciate your patience as we just got the final delegates registered here. Good morning, thank you, and welcome to the Future of Cayman Economic Development Forum of 2012. Before I get started, I know that you're here because you're bleeding edge technology type people, so if you're following on Twitter the Future of Cayman Economic Development Initiative, you will of course be right now sort of trending on at Future of Cayman, which is the Twitter name for our group, and hashtag for today, the three people that knew what that meant actually just looked up at me, is hashtag FOC 2012. Any posts that you do related to today, appreciate it if you put that hashtag on there, makes it easy to search in the future. So thank you very much for that, both of you who will do that today. I extend a warm welcome to our private sector partners who are here today, and also our public sector partners, who today include the Deputy Governor of the Cayman Islands, the Honorable Frans Manderson. Shortly we'll be joined by the Minister of Health, Environment, Youth, Sports and Culture, the Honourable Mark Scotland, and also the fourth elected member for Georgetown, Mr. Elio Solomon. Unfortunately, they're both currently engaged at the Parliamentary Prayer Breakfast and will join us in progress. We also have with us here today Chief Officers Jennifer Ahern, Eric Bush, Alan Jones, and Mary Rodriguez. We also have the Deputy Chief Officer, Mr. Tristan Hydes, the Auditor General, Mr. Alistair Swarbrick, and the RCIPS Deputy Commissioner, Stephen Brougham. I want to extend a welcome also to the Chamber President, Mr. Chris Duggan, Chamber Vice President, Barry Bodden, past councillor and still actively involved, Shane Howe, and the CEO of the Chamber, Mr. Will Pinot. I welcome the delegates here today and thank you for your commitment to the Future of Cayman. The background and purpose of the Future of Cayman project is worthy of review. In 2010, the Chamber felt that as budgets, employment, and resources tightened all over the world, and given the limitations of Cayman's size and capital reserves, it might help to propose an outline, a set of guideposts that describe where we might wish to go in the future as a country, and thus this project was born. A Future of Cayman Steering Committee was established, and they've done a tremendous job in leading the initiative through its first 16 months. The committee at the time comprised Shane Howe, who was the chairman, Dr. Dax Basdeo, Ministry of Finance, Tourism and Development, Samantha Nira of DMS, Will Pinot of the Chamber of Commerce, Lynn Biles, Cayman Finance, Carrie Bergstrom, Tourism Advisory Council, Pilar Bush of the Tourism Ministerial Council, Chris Bergstrom of the Cayman Contractors Association, James O'Neill, National Investment Council, Stuart Bostock, the Security Center, Jennifer Ahern of the Ministry of Health, Environment, Youth, Sports and Culture, and Mr. Brad Watts of Bodden Holdings. In late 2010, the Steering Committee, in consultation with over 100 leaders of the public and private sector, met and identified 5 key economic drivers that would help us prepare for a sustainable future. The identified drivers were develop talent, create a business-friendly climate, enhance the quality of life, build a smarter infrastructure, and diversify the economy. The 5 key drivers are broad and far-reaching in their objectives. They aim to create the basis for a sustainable economy that creates jobs and prosperity for all residents. The 5 subcommittees were then created, 1 for each driver, and comprised of volunteers, and were co-chaired by a top officer in the civil service and a representative from the private sector. One of the key hallmarks of this project is that it is truly a joint initiative that looks at each issue from both private sector and public sector perspectives. Volunteers on all driver groups were required to report back to co-chairs on a regular basis with updates on progress made on all the objectives. The government of the Cayman Islands committed early to the project, helping to develop, then signing a Memorandum of Understanding in July of 2011 to work collaboratively to achieve the objectives and actions for each of the 5 drivers. In November 2011, an official strategic report was produced, and a set of objectives and action items for each of the 5 economic drivers were identified, as being crucial focus points to move the economy forward. Because of the incredible amount of material and the sheer comprehensive length of the objectives, and more to the point, the achievements that have been attained in the 5 drivers, this November's forum was decided to look at just 2 of those drivers in detail. Throughout the course of today, you'll be hearing from a succession of professionals, both from the public and private sectors, who will be focusing their efforts on 2 of the 5 economic drivers that were initially identified as crucial in helping the economy reach its full potential. Develop talent and build a better infrastructure were identified as the 2 most important key drivers for this moment in time. Both can be seen as the bedrock from which a successful economy can grow. Unemployment numbers among local residents are incredibly worrying, and they reveal the need to offer new skills training to the existing workforce and also to better prepare our students for future employment. Various infrastructure projects, such as the Future of Cayman Investment Alliance, Dr. Devi Shetty's Health City, the airport redevelopment, and the Georgetown cruise berthing, will all impact the island's infrastructure at a time when government is facing the pressing need to reduce expenditure and to cut costs. Funds for large public sector projects are at a low or non-existent level at present. However, having better infrastructure will generate jobs, and as such, it was identified as an important driver for discussion today. Even though completing the objectives of these 2 specific driver groups is seen as critical for Cayman to build a sustainable economy, the knock-on effect will then have a direct impact on another driver, diversify the economy, which in turn should impact yet another driver, enhance the quality of life. So while we're looking at just 2, they all interrelate. It's therefore obvious that each of the 5 driver groups are interconnected. Even though the focus today is on just these 2, I'm sure that all of them will be enhanced by the discussions we will all have today. On a personal level, it's been a pleasure to serve as the Chamber of Commerce President for this past year, ending on Wednesday, just gone, and to be here today as your conference chairman for the Future of Cayman Forum. It really is quite a milestone for the Future of Cayman Economic Development Initiative. Much has been accomplished in the first years since the first forum was held, and much more is yet to be achieved. I congratulate and I welcome the new Chamber of Commerce President, Mr. Nick Duggan, who serves as Vice President of Investment Operations within the Active Investments Group of DART Enterprises. Chris is well known in the community for his professional achievements and respected for his volunteer service also. He follows the footsteps of his father, the late Nick Duggan, who was president of the Chamber of Commerce in the late 80s and was a tremendous force for good within the community and fondly remembered. Today, we're fortunate to be able to bring together industry leaders from a broad cross-section of businesses and government entities, all focused on what we all want to see, moving the economy forward. It is great to see such a show of support from so many individuals and a collective willingness to roll up our sleeves and deal with the issues that are before us. Although considerable challenges lie ahead, it's gratifying to review the successes that have been achieved since the first Future of Cayman Forum 2 years ago. On that note, it is now my distinct honor to introduce you to the new Chamber of Commerce President, Mr. Chris Duggan.
Thank you very much. Just 2 days ago when David was handing over the presidency baton to me, he had a big smile on his face. I think he thought that Wednesday was going to be the last public speaking event he had for the Chamber, but we got him back today, and I'd like to thank him for agreeing to chair today's Future of Cayman Forum. We appreciate having him, and we appreciate all the work he did the last year as Chamber President, so thanks very much, David. With protocol already having been established, I'd like to begin by adding my welcome to David's. Thank you all very much for being here. We appreciate you coming out today for the second Future of Cayman Forum. Having taken over the Chamber presidency just 2 days ago, it's certainly very fitting that this is my first event as Chamber President. Future of Cayman Economic Development Initiative is an initiative that not only do I feel very strongly about, but is one that is at the forefront of the Chamber's strategic plan this year, and one that I intend on spending a great deal of the Chamber's time and resources on, given its relevance and potential to be a force for change for our country. Developing closer ties and stronger working relationships between the Chamber, the public sector, and the elected government is very high on my list of priorities for the Chamber this year, and the Future of Cayman Economic Development Initiative relies very heavily on these partnerships, and these partnerships must work to make it a success. I'm delighted, therefore, to see such a good cross-section of representation here today from all three of these areas. This Future of Cayman will form a large part of the Chamber's advocacy for 2013, and we'll be sure to ask the candidates running in next year's election for their views on whether they support the 5 identified economic drivers and how they plan to work together, both with the private sector and together with the public sector, to achieve the results that are outlined in the Future of Cayman strategic report. Remember, these drivers were identified back in 2010, not by the Chamber, but by a group of 100 committed senior representatives from both public and private sector, many of whom I'm delighted to see are back with us today. These 5 drivers were identified as the 5 areas that they believed were crucial to the future economic development of the Cayman Islands. As we move into the political season, candidates from all districts will be coming forward with their manifestos and ideas for moving these islands forward. Everyone here today has already in some way endorsed an agenda for the way forward, and I encourage all political candidates, therefore, to evaluate the Future of Cayman strategic report and to review these 5 drivers as they develop their 2013 political platform. Focusing on these key areas are key to our future economic success, and I would suggest to the success of any political campaign next year. It would be very difficult for anybody to disagree that the drivers being discussed today, developing talent and building a smarter infrastructure, are the foundation for our ongoing and future success, and are most relevant given today's stagnant economy. I challenge all candidates to embrace the Future of Cayman initiative and demonstrate their support by speaking publicly about the initiative on the political campaign trails next year. The Future of Cayman Economic Development Initiative is a working partnership for change. It is not a political initiative. It's a vehicle for the public and private stakeholders to agree on core drivers and to work deliberately in a coordinated manner to continue to achieve positive and sustainable results. The driver objectives and results achieved to date are clearly documented in the Future of Cayman report card, recently published in the latest Chamber magazine, which I believe you all have copies of today. I'm going to review some of these successes later, but encourage you all to take some time to review the report card, which documents the power of the initiative thus far, the results that can be achieved when we maximize our limited resources and get down to some work. Local businesses, large and small, are still feeling the impact of a sluggish global economy. Our local economy across industries has also been impacted negatively by increased fees, by the escalating cost of doing business, and the ongoing difficulties with government's budget and cash flow. There is now an urgent and very timely need to kickstart the local economy. This can only be achieved by an ongoing commitment from all stakeholders involved. Several of the critical infrastructure projects that were discussed at the first forum back in 2010 continue to languish in uncertainty, despite several false starts. We need to address these issues urgently so we can move this economy forward and get people back to work and restore business vitality to the economy. Now more than ever, it's vitally important that we work together to press ahead with achieving the Future of Cayman objectives for each of the 5 drivers that comprise this initiative. We must develop talent. We must create a business-friendly climate. We must enhance the quality of life. We must build a smarter infrastructure. And of course, we must diversify the economy. These 5 key economic drivers are the foundation of the Future of Cayman. And they're undoubtedly key to the success of this initiative. As past President Cacaldi mentioned, each driver group is co-chaired by a leader from the public and private sectors. Volunteers from both sectors have held regular meetings with their respective co-chairs throughout the year to address the objectives and to implement the numerous action items originally developed. I'm pleased to report that a considerable amount of work has been undertaken across all areas of industry, and that notable successes have been achieved in all 5 driver groups. As I mentioned, you can review these successes in the report card in the Chamber magazine. However, I would like to take this opportunity to briefly outline some significant successes to date. Before I do that, though, I'd like to introduce you to the co-chairs of each driver group. Today is all about working together, networking, making connections, and putting a face to a name. So I'm going to ask the co-chairs present today to stand when I introduce them and be acknowledged for being here. Beginning with the Developed Talent, co-chairs are Mary Rodriguez, Chief Officer with the Ministry of Education, Training and Employment, and Samantha Nera, Vice President of People and Development with DMS. And thank you both very much for your tireless effort so far on developing this driver. The 3 main objectives within this driver are to ensure successful educational performance at every level, to ensure employers have access to a skilled workforce, and to create an environment that promotes lifelong learning. As Mary and Sam will attest, the Developed Talent economic driver must begin at the grassroots level. And I'm very pleased to report that many objectives have already been met in this regard, with significant improvements already having been made to our education system. The opening of the new Clifton Hunter High School for this academic school year has also been a great boost. Progress towards the goal of developing a world-class early childhood care and education system has been achieved with the establishment of an early childhood care and education unit, a new Cayman Islands early years curriculum framework, and the implementation of new early years training programs. The government has also developed the first national professional standards for teachers, completed a first round of baseline formal inspections of preschools, and established new high school graduation criteria to include academic criteria for the first time. Focusing on preparing students for the workplace, the Cayman Islands Further Education Center has been established, offering new programs for Year 12 students. Additionally, I'm pleased to see how well the Passport to Success initiative has been embraced by young people. This has tackled the barriers to employment for young people and has helped prepare them for the workforce. A range of programs to support at-risk students have also been introduced, including BEST, Behavior and Educational Support Teams, as well as free extended after-school programs for students in primary and secondary government schools, which are currently serving over 1,000 students. At the Chamber, we launched the Show Me the Money website, which provides information about scholarship and training opportunities that exist in both the public and private sectors. This now means students have a central place in which they can locate the wide-ranging scholarships that are available, and it will prove to be an invaluable resource, not only for students, but for parents and teachers alike. In these times of economic difficulties, a scholarship may well be the only option for many young people to acquire vital further education, and we commend all the private sector entities which have joined government in creating scholarships for our young people. The launch of this website has been yet another example of an excellent public-private sector collaboration involving the Chamber of Commerce, the Ministry of Education, and the Cayman Islands Students Association. Our second driver, Create a Business-Friendly Climate, is co-chaired by Eric Bush, Chief Officer with the government's Internal and External Affairs, and Michael Joseph with REMAX Cayman Islands. Eric and Mike, you're both here. If you can just stand up so everyone can see you. And also, thank you both for all the work you've done on this driver. Their objectives are of particular importance at a time when considerable pressure has been placed on government to become leaner by reducing its expenditure and becoming far more efficient. Notable successes to date have been achieved primarily within the Department of Immigration, which has implemented a number of business-friendly mechanisms. These include the introduction of a new visitor's work visa, the implementation of the direct investment permanent residence certificate, encouraging inward investment with the security of residency, the term limit exemption permit, which has allowed important employees on work permits to extend their period of continuous employment until October 2013, and the new immigration online web portal, which has provided local businesses with new functionality. We look forward to continued developments within immigration to further maintain the development of a more business-friendly service, including the online payment service. From the private sector side, the Chamber has placed considerable focus this year on Cayman's small business owners, and to this end we launched our Small Business Committee to develop and recommend strategies to assist small to medium-sized businesses. We have more planned for 2013 to further develop our focus on small businesses, including the launch of our Small Business Awards program. We established a Chamber of Commerce Local Producers Committee to assist businesses that produce products locally, and our highly successful K-Shop Expo showcased the best niche businesses and cottage industries that Cayman has to offer today. The third economic driver is enhance the quality of life, and this group is co-chaired by Jennifer Ahern, who is the Chief Officer in the Ministry of Health, Environment, Youth, Sports and Culture, and Pamela Small, Customer Care Manager with Logic. Jennifer and Pamela, if I can ask you both to stand, please. And thanks very much for all the work you've been doing on this. This group has 5 objectives on which it's aiming to deliver: to enhance and embrace diversity, to promote a healthy and active lifestyle, to achieve a balance between environment and growth, to promote good governance and justice, and to increase focus on education, family, and public safety. To this end, there has been a demonstrable push to increase the prevalence of sports into the curriculum, and after a very successful first year, the Ministry of Health, Environment, Youth, Sports and Culture, together with the Ministry of Education, Training and Employment, have continued to partner to offer an extended after-school sports program in the government high schools. Broadening its focus on youth, an interministerial committee on youth affairs has been formed to review the proposed action steps for the implementation of the National Youth Policy. The National Drug Council is working to prepare substance abuse prevention education for the school curriculum to be introduced as soon as possible. With the ever-increasing global threat of drugs, we see this as a critical first step. Furthering the objective to achieve a balance between the environment and growth, the Chamber is pleased to see the draft National Conservation Law is finally in the final review stages to incorporate the feedback received from the public over the course of the public consultation exercise. It's anticipated the consolidated draft will be ready for Cabinet consideration in the very near future. The fourth driver is diversify the economy. Driver Group co-chairs are Jonathan Piercy, Director with the Department of Commerce and Investment, and Johan Moxham, General Manager with Merrill Lynch Bank and Trust Company, Cayman. Jonathan, I don't know if Jonathan's here, but Johan I know is. Johan, you can stand, even though most people know. Don't think Jonathan's here, but thanks, Johan and Jonathan, for all the work you guys are doing. Their 3 main objectives are to promote business development as a vital strategy for Cayman's future success, to leverage Cayman's legal and physical infrastructure, and to attract new industries and grow globally competitive business, investment and tourism that can create new jobs and business opportunities. This is a huge area of opportunity for Cayman that needs a considerable amount of research and review, and as a result, focus groups will be established for various industry sectors that are being targeted for diversification. These industry sectors include medical, tourism, film, renewable energy, and reinsurance. The Chamber's 4th trade mission to Panama in partnership with the Ministry and Department of Tourism and Cayman Airways took place in March and promoted travel and trade links between Panama and Cayman. This year, Cayman Enterprise City and the Special Economic Zone was finally launched, and we look forward to the ongoing development of this new initiative next year. Moving now on to the final driver, building a smarter infrastructure. Co-chairs for this driver group are Tristan Hydes, Deputy Chief Officer with the Ministry of District Administration, Works, Lands and Agriculture, and Barry Bodden, Managing Director with Island Paving. They've been tasked with overseeing the development of a national infrastructure plan and seeing that investment takes place in critical infrastructure. I see they both stood up, so you can see them down here. And thank you guys for all the work you're doing. A strong infrastructure, including roads, telecommunications, ports of entry, energy, and waste management, means a solid foundation across the economy. First-class infrastructure enables businesses to grow, secure in the knowledge that is backed by service providers that can give them a high level of support, whether that's via well-constructed road systems that allow for timely internal travel, fast telecommunications that provide quick access to information and easy and effective global communications, or well-organized ports of entry that permit effective and speedy travel to and from our islands. Building a smarter infrastructure is, I believe, one of the top priorities for the Future of Cayman Forum. The objectives of this particular driver group are far-reaching and extremely wide in scope. I believe that this driver, more than any other, needs a firm public-private sector partnership if crucial infrastructure development projects are to get off the ground. The Energy Policy Committee is now working with a consultant to assess and finalize an energy policy. Meetings with representatives from the Airport Authority to discuss plans to renovate and expand the Owen Roberts International Airport and Gerard Smith Airport in Cayman Brac are ongoing. Upgraded arrival and departure lounges and aircraft aprons at the Owen Roberts International Airport have already taken place, and we look forward to seeing onward progression in these areas. The groundbreaking of the Health City project at East End in August was also a promising sign that this much-awaited project is now gaining momentum. It's anticipated that this will create thousands of jobs for local people when it comes to its construction and development phase, as well as the knock-on positive employment effects the Health City will have once completed. And we're continuing to support the For Cayman Investment Alliance projects and look forward to the significant economic benefits that these projects will provide once the agreements are signed and the projects commenced. The Future of Cayman initiative requires continued leadership and commitment from the public and private sectors. Your presence at today's forum demonstrates your belief and your commitment to this initiative. And I would ask everyone present to approach a colleague and explain the initiative, get them involved in one of the driver groups. There is still much work to be done, and we will need your ongoing commitment as we update the objectives and action items in the months and years ahead. There are several ways to get involved, all of which are outlined in your programs today, so please do take a look and please do get involved and encourage others to get involved too. 2012 has not been without its fiscal challenges, but I'm pleased to be taking the reins as President of the Chamber of Commerce at a time when Cayman has many exciting new possibilities and opportunities ahead. I firmly believe that continuing the excellent work that has already been achieved in partnership with government will stand us in good stead for seeing the Future of Cayman objectives through to the end. A healthy, sustainable economy for all that generates new jobs and thereby creates a stable and solid future for generations to come. This is our goal, and we will achieve this with all of your help. I trust that today's discussions will result in a clear direction for the Future of Cayman initiative to continue its path to leading the Cayman Islands to economic sustainability. I hope you all find today's forum worthwhile and productive, and I look forward to working with all of you this year to build a stronger future for Cayman. Thank you all again very much for being here, and I hope you have an excellent day. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Just before I get started on the next, I just want to comment on my request to use Twitter hashtag FOC2012 and thank Joey Hugh and Jane Vanderball for already posting the first tweets on this. That's very impressive. I did say I noticed 2 people look up, and it must have been you too. So thank you for that, and to the organizers of Future Cayman, I think we have just identified our 2 technology/social media co-chairs for 2013. Thanks for walking right into my little trap there, guys. Appreciate that, though. Get the word out. Thank you, Chris. As you all know, an undertaking of this magnitude would not be possible without collaboration from both the public and private sectors. We're really pleased today to have the Cayman Islands government's ongoing partnership in this initiative. It just wouldn't succeed without them, and we really value it. And joining us here today is the Cayman Islands Deputy Governor and Head of the Civil Service, the Honourable Frans Manderson. Mr. Manderson has had a long and distinguished public service career, having joined the public service in 1981. He progressed quickly through the ranks and within 10 years was promoted to Assistant Chief Immigration Officer, a position he held for 4 years. He was Deputy Chief Immigration Officer for 8 years and then Chief Immigration Officer from 2003 to 2009. In 2009, Mr. Manderson was appointed Chief Officer of the Portfolio of Internal and External Affairs. During his time as Chief Officer, he has improved the strategic effectiveness of the portfolio and has overseen the introduction of key pieces of crime reduction legislation. Mr. Manderson was appointed Deputy Governor in January of 2012. Welcome, Deputy Governor Manderson.
Thank you. Good morning. I want to keep moving my finger, but I realize I don't have an iPad, so I'm going to have to do it the old-fashioned way. Protocol has been established, but I saw the Director General for Civil Aviation in the back there, Mr. Smith, and I want to recognize the President of the Civil Service Association, Mr. Watler, as well. It's a great pleasure for me to be here among many of my senior civil servants and friends and colleagues and business leaders. And it's a pleasure to address you at this second Future of Cayman Forum. Thank you, Mr. David Kirkcaldy, outgoing President of the Chamber of Commerce and Future of Cayman Chair, and to Mr. Chris Dugan, incoming Chamber President, who I'm sure will be just as energetic and hardworking in championing Chamber causes as his predecessor. I know that Chris has a lot of tolerance and patience. And I know this because, like myself, we are Miami Dolphin fans. And he will tell you that each week we suffer as the Dolphins find a new way to lose. But today is about winning, and winning big, and that's what we want to focus on. The public sector and I are committed to working together in partnership with the Chamber President to provide the necessary support and leadership for the continued success of the Future of Cayman initiative. It is hard to believe that it's 2 years since the Future of Cayman Forum was held, an event developed by the Chamber of Commerce which heralded a joint initiative between the government and industry with over 100 representatives that sought to improve so many aspects of life here in Cayman. This is being achieved by creating a strong framework to support a vibrant and sustainable economy, keeping people employed, and therefore improving the standard of living for everyone who resides here. I am pleased to report that the public sector has made good strides with addressing many of the objectives and actions outlined in the Future of Cayman Strategic Report, and you heard them just now, or some of them just now. I would encourage everyone to review the report in detail. We should be proud of our achievements to date. There is much more work to be done, but the initiative has generated the desire and created the opportunity for change, which is vitally important if we are to remain competitive on the global stage. It is important that the Future of Cayman program is well publicized so the community is aware of the benefits such a pooling of resources and forward thinking can achieve. So I commend the organizers today for setting the stage for informed dialogue that will hopefully reach as many people across the islands as possible. Since the Future of Cayman initiative was launched, the global economy has faced more than its share of challenges, and the Cayman Islands has certainly not been immune to downward economic pressures. It is my belief the challenges we have faced in the last 2 years has only proven to underscore just how important a strong public-private sector relationship is in times of need. Historically speaking, people in the Cayman have shown resilience and a willingness to work together, public and private sector standing shoulder to shoulder. That was how Cayman economy took off so spectacularly in the 70s, through the hard work and forward vision of individuals from both government and industry, working towards a common goal. That intrinsic determination to improve the economic situation for generations to come has shown itself through the Future of Cayman initiative, which has seen lasting partnerships forged at many different levels of government and industry, fueled by a collective dedication to succeed. You will have heard that in July 2011, the Cayman Island government and the Chamber of Commerce reached an agreement that underlined the support both entities have for the Future of Cayman Economic Development Initiative. This agreement has created a framework to help develop a joint vision for the future by which we can navigate through the economic difficulties that lie ahead. Through the private and public sector partnership created by the Future of Cayman, we can work together to ensure that we are able to continue to enjoy a superior quality of life, not just for ourselves, but for the prosperity of generations to come. This framework is significant, for without the establishment of this mutual understanding from both sides of the economy, the country risks stagnation, and this is not an option for any modern economy keen to grow and prosper. Prosperity for a nation can only come from growth and vision. Globally, we have faced the worst economic crisis in modern times. It is therefore essential that the Cayman Islands has inbuilt mechanisms and a sufficiently sustainable economy with a long-term vision so we are resilient enough to be able to withstand these kind of negative pressures in the future. Within the agreement, the government and the Chamber have agreed on a number of important points, including working to increase awareness, participation and support for the Future of Cayman, and to promote and endorse the program in public addresses. We have also jointly agreed to improve the quality, timeliness, and simplicity of public sector communications, and to work collaboratively to achieve the actions identified. In addition, we have agreed to meet quarterly to provide an update on the progress towards implementing the objectives and actions. I believe that the discussions set to take place at today's Future of Cayman forum will go a long way in addressing these crucial points, in particular, promoting and endorsing the initiative to the wider public. Momentum for the Future of Cayman initiative has been found through the 5 key economic drivers groups that each focus on separate challenges for our economy. You've heard them earlier, but I want to repeat them. They are develop talent, create a business-friendly climate, building a smarter infrastructure, diversify the economy, and enhance quality of life. Working groups have been formed to take these drivers forward. Each group is chaired by a chief officer or senior civil servant and an industry representative, and you've met them a few minutes ago, thereby immediately establishing the communication lines necessary between the public and private sector at the highest level. This dual leadership model and pooling of invaluable resources and experience has successfully laid the foundation for open dialogue, the discovery of synergies and common aims, goals, and concerns across both sectors of the economy, and allowed us to positively challenge our energies. It is a model that I am keen to continue as we move the economy forward into 2013. As President Duggan has said, today's forum will focus on 2 of the drivers, developing talent and building a smarter infrastructure. These are critically important drivers to the success of our community. Just this week, I attended the orientation training session for Mentoring Cayman program, a joint initiative between the Ministry of Youth and the Chamber of Commerce. This program matched up 50 mentors from the public and private sectors with 50 high-achieving high school students. I encourage all chief officers and senior civil servants to participate in this program. We must all do our part if we want to attract and develop the best talent. I decided to become a mentor because I wanted to lead by example. Too often, we complain of problems with our youth, but we need to step up and do what is necessary to make the changes that we know are required. This forum is also an opportunity to make Cayman a better place, and I applaud the Chamber. I was thinking back earlier about me being a mentor and what it will mean, and I was thinking, well, can I expose my student to some of the meetings that I attend. And you can imagine I attend quite a few colorful meetings, so I need to try and think very carefully about how I deal with that. But I'm looking forward to that opportunity to working with one of the young students. And like I said, I want to encourage more civil servants to get involved in such a positive program. Since I assumed my new role as Deputy Governor and Head of the Civil Service, one of my main areas of focus has been public sector reform. Chief officers and I meet regularly to address ways to improve government efficiencies, streamline current systems, review procedures, and motivate all public sector officers to deliver the highest level of service to the business community and residents. There is still a lot of work to be done, but I am confident the private sector is realizing the benefits of some of the reforms that have been seen and introduced, and we mentioned earlier, particularly in areas of immigration and customs. People ask me, Franz, what is the mean, people ask me what is one of my main challenges that I face as head of the civil service. I can easily point to reducing budgets and the size of the civil service and improving efficiencies and effectiveness, more focus on digital. But one of my main challenges is improving the reputation of our civil service. This forum provides a great opportunity in that regard. It allows the private sector to get an in-depth view of the operations of the civil service and to be exposed to the talented individuals that we have in government. Together, we will improve the effectiveness of the civil service, which will lead to improving its reputation. This is so very important to us, and I can't thank the Chamber enough for creating this forum and opportunity for us in the civil service. We will show what we're all about. We will show that we can improve, and we will prove that in the next few years, you're going to see significant change within our civil service. It will not be the same. It will not be business as usual. I have a great team that I work with who all support me in my efforts. And I know along with this initiative, you will see a more improved and dynamic civil service very soon. Thank you. From the successes just outlined by the Chamber President, it is evident that the Future of Cayman program is also making real progress towards this goal. This initiative is critical to the future of this country and everyone in them, regardless of political opinion, nationality, and age. Standing side by side, government and the private sector can achieve these objectives laid out before us. Simply put, a solid partnership gives us the means to succeed. Today, the Future of Cayman Forum has created an excellent platform from which we can educate and inform, as well as exchange ideas, analyze issues, and further goals. Government is pleased to reaffirm its commitment to the initiative, and chief officers and I and senior civil servants look forward to ensuring the good work already achieved continues to take place in 2013 and beyond. In closing, I wish to thank you for inviting me to be here. It's been a great opportunity. I wish you an extremely productive set of discussions today at the Future of Cayman Forum, and I look forward to hearing about the outcomes and action plans generated. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Deputy Governor. It's wonderful to hear of your vision for the future of the civil service, and thank you for your time this morning. At this time, I'm going to be introducing the co-chairs of the two key driver groups that we'll be hearing from today, who will discuss those and then in turn give a brief overview of their breakout sessions. First off, I'm going to introduce Chief Officer Ms. Mary Rodriguez. Mary is the co-chair of the Develop Talent driver group. Since 2009, Ms. Rodriguez has held the role of Chief Officer in the Ministry of Education, Training, and Employment. A civil servant for over 25 years, this is Ms. Rodriguez's second Chief Officer posting. She is also a former Chief Inspector of Schools and an educator who combined her education and HR experience to establish the island's first civil service college in 2007. Ms. Rodriguez's co-chair is Samantha Nera, With over 15 years' experience in the field of human resources and business strategy, and a past president of the Cayman Islands Society of Human Resources Professionals, Mrs. Neera is currently the Vice President of People and Development with DMS. At this time, I'd like to invite them to make their presentation.
Thanks. So my first request for the next Future of Cayman Forum is that we upgrade from clipboards to iPads, please.
Yeah.
I'm just putting it out there.
Thank you, Samantha. Good morning, distinguished guests. Good morning, participants and sponsors. In our service-based economy here in the Cayman Islands, the talent of our people, our human capital, whether in the government service or in the private sector, is truly our most valuable asset. If we are to maintain our global competitive edge, we must not only be able to attract talent to our shores, but as employers, educators, as a government, we must also grow and develop talent. And here in the Cayman Islands, we must also include growing and developing Caymanian talent. It must also involve collaborations between the government and the private sector. Each sector has an important role to play in advancing a dynamic human capital development agenda for the Cayman Islands, and this is why we are all here today. As Chief Officer, I'm very proud of the aggressive reform agenda that our ministry has pursued over the past few years, but we've only just begun. There's much more to do, and many exciting opportunities for the government and the private sector to work together, to put people first, as an education strategy, as a workforce development strategy, and as a social and economic development priority. Thank you. Samantha?
Thank you. I've been lucky enough to call the Cayman Islands my home for the last 9 years. And in those 9 years, my career has been focused on developing talent. And I believe the last 2 years, we've seen a really positive shift in the area of developed talent. And I'd like to think, in part, that is due to the work we've done on this driver group over the last 2 years. You're going to see a lot of the work to date as you move into the breakout sessions. And Chamber President Chris touched on some of the initiatives that we've introduced, but there's some positive outcomes that have come from the initiatives. So it's not just ticking the box, done, we've launched this. And I'd just like to showcase a couple of those. We've had our best ever CXC and GCSE results this year, which has resulted in a record number of students looking for scholarships, which is fabulous, but we need assistance in terms of supporting that from a financial perspective. The other side of things is a shift in mindset from our school leavers, and we've seen that through the SciFec program, through Passport to Success, in that students are much more aware of what their skill sets are and looking for careers that match those skill sets. So they have much more realistic expectations in terms of the career they should be going into. We've also seen great improvements in self-awareness when it comes to work ethics, and again, that will be showcased through the great work of Passport to Success program. Another key area of success for us has been the establishment of the National Workforce Development Agency, previously Department of Employment Relations. And this is still in development. There's still a lot of work to be done here, and we're going to hear from some of these guys when we move next door. But the move is to look again at the employability skills and career guidance for job seekers to make sure that we are giving them the opportunities to the development to bring their skills to a standard that will be acceptable to the workforce. For developed talent and the driver group that we've represented over the last 2 years, much of the success has been driven by the public sector to date. So today, I appeal to you, those of you that are moving across to the breakout session with us, to become involved, to volunteer, to endorse, to advocate, to partner if you can. Because we've made such progress in the last 2 years, but this is just the start. And when we think about the early childhood initiatives that are being put in place right now, we won't see the outcome of that for quite a while in terms of them entering the workforce. So I want a commitment for the next 10 to 15 years, please, from all of you joining us next door. We need your input today as well. This is a participative session, and so we want your brains. We've got you for the day. I want your input. I want your ideas. No laughing, did you, sir? Okay. So, and again, just to reiterate some of the other messages, this is a partnership across private, public, and the associations. We all have our agendas. We're all working on very similar things. Let's pool that energy together and drive forward and make a difference to how we develop talent in the Cayman Islands.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to stay up.
Thank you very much. At this time now, what we will be doing is, I lost my place. Technology has failed. Paper doesn't, Mr. Manderson. Thank you, Mary and Samantha, it says. Joey, do not tweet about that. Next up, we welcome the co-chairs of the Build a Smarter Infrastructure Driver Group. Deputy Chief Officer Tristan Hydes, Ministry of District Administration, Works, Lands, and Agriculture. Tristan is an architecture graduate of the University of Tennessee at Knoxville. He was employed with the Public Works Department as an architect and project manager for over 10 years and is currently the Deputy Chief Officer for the Ministry of District Administration, Works, Lands, and Agriculture. Tristan coordinated the master plan development for the Owen Roberts International Airport and the Little Cayman Airport, and also played an integral part of the government's rebuilding efforts after Hurricanes Ivan and Paloma. Mr. Hyde's co-chair is Barry Bodden, the Managing Director of Island Paving. Barry also operates Island Paving Equipment, a heavy equipment rental company, and Animal House Limited, a full-service line, a full-line retail pet store. Barry was also voted in as the Vice President of the Chamber of Commerce of the Cayman Islands at Wednesday's AGM, and we congratulate you, Barry, and welcome the two of you to outline your accomplishments within your driver group.
Honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm pleased to be involved in the Future of Cayman and chair of the Build Smarter Infrastructure breakout session together with Barry. The importance of infrastructure has sustained economic development is well recognized. Inadequate or inefficient infrastructure can prevent any economy from realizing its full growth potential, regardless of the progress of other fronts. Physical infrastructure covering transportation, power, and communication facilitates growth. Social infrastructure, including waste management, water supply, sanitation, education, and health, has a direct impact on the quality of life. The need to provide world-class infrastructure that keeps pace with economic growth is clear. As we look to Cayman's future needs and development in support of our economic pillars, we must examine areas such as transportation, ports, water, communication, waste management, energy, and building technologies. The key objectives of Build a Smarter Infrastructure Driver are to develop a national infrastructure plan and to invest in critical infrastructure. Barry and I both hope that through today's breakout sessions, we are able to make significant progress on the great work already achieved by the Future of Cayman initiative. We see every infrastructure project, no matter how large or small, an exciting opportunity to support our communities, contribute to our country, and advance our industry. Barry.
Following this introductory session, we will go to our 4 breakout sessions located in the Grand Cayman Room. The breakout sessions are good practice in public and private infrastructure partnerships, which will be moderated by Mr. Simon Conway of PwC Cayman. Invest in critical infrastructure, waste management, energy policy, moderated by Tristan. Data and communications infrastructure, moderated by Mr. Stuart Bostock of the Security Center Limited. And National Infrastructure Plan, moderated by Mr. Will Pinu of the Chamber of Commerce. We ask you to participate in today's sessions with thought, enthusiasm, and innovative thinking. We encourage flexibility and discussion that is both efficient and purposeful, backed by forward thinking. We encourage the active involvement of all of you. because we know that valued and engaged people create the best ideas, whether smarter work practices, innovative ideas, or best-in-class project approaches. Thank you. Mary?
Thank you, Barry. At this time, we'd like to take a few moments to recognize the many sponsors who believe in and support the Future of Cayman initiative. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, without their involvement, a forum of this nature would not be possible. To allow for maximum networking opportunities today, we would like to ask sponsor representatives, when you hear your name, to please stand so that we can give everyone in the room the opportunity to connect company names with faces. And I'm delighted to begin with Westar TV, the sponsor for cocktail reception.
The most important part of the day, I'd like to add. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bob Taylor, CEO, and April Cummins, Broadcast General Manager. If they're here with us, could you ask you to please stand? They're not here yet. Both of whom are supposed to be participating in panel discussions, I'm told, so perhaps later.
We have 3 premium sponsors of the forum today: Tower Marketing, Digicel, and the Caymanian Compass. The Chamber of Commerce and Government would like to extend a huge thank you to Lynn Biles and her team at Tower Marketing for their efforts at bringing this together. I know they've spent most nights this week up until about 2 a.m. putting this together, so thank you, team. Lynn and Laurie are at the back, and they have a booth out in the main network area, so please take the time out. They say about themselves that they are fun, creative, passionate, and love to make friends. So please check them out at the coffee, lunch, and cocktail sessions.
Thanks, Samantha. I must confess, I think an iPad would have been really nice right about now. Having said that, Digicel are leaders of Digicel are leaders of innovation and customer excellence in the Caribbean telecoms industry. And as ambassadors of supporting local talent, Digicel continues to work with the community on key initiatives that improve lives and working environments for people in the Cayman Islands. Digicel's focus remains solidly on providing the best value of service in the Cayman Islands, paving the way for a bright and extraordinary future. Please welcome Mr. Chris Heyman, CEO, and Brian Hurley of Digicel Cayman.
Our third premium sponsor, and also the official media sponsor is the Caymanian Compass, represented here today by Mr. Michael Klein and Patrick Brendel. The Caymanian Compass is the island's favorite newspaper and the hub of news in the local community.
Well, Samantha, don't get too excited, but now we're talking about today's lunch sponsor.
Second most important event of the day. Yeah.
The Security Center Limited, the most trusted full-service security and life safety company in the Cayman Islands, catering to the demands of Cayman's commercial and residential markets. Please welcome Security Center President and Chamber of Commerce past President, Mr. Stuart Bostock, who's also a moderator today.
And if you are busy making friends and networking at the cocktail reception and you realize you've had more than one drink, one of their new services is Home Safe. So please give them a call. The little dude will come along with their scooter, drive your car home with the scooter in the back. It's an awesome service. That was a plug for free. We're also pleased to recognize our 3 major sponsors. CDS IBM Cayman Agency, CUC, and Cayman National Bank. CDS IBM Cayman Agency is Cayman's local gateway to world-class IBM solutions that help customers innovate with IBM software, services, and hardware. Welcome, Gary Austin. Please rise. Also speaking on the National Infrastructure panel this afternoon and was a key part of the 2010 forum. So it's nice to see you back again, Gary. Aaron Smith and Douglas Spencer. Again, please stand. And thank you.
Mr. Richard Hugh and Pat Binot Clark are Caribbean Utilities Companies, are with Caribbean Utilities Company, sorry, and are here with us today. Mr. Hugh and CUC has been operating in Grand Cayman for over 46 years. CUC has kept pace with Grand Cayman's rapid development over the years and is considered one of the Caribbean's most reliable and efficient power companies.
The third of our major sponsors is Cayman National. Established in 1974, Cayman National Group offers banking, trust, company management, and wealth management solutions. Cayman National is headquartered in the Cayman Islands with offices in the Isle of Man and representative offices in Dubai and Panama.
And moving on to our breakout session sponsors, we'll start with the Infrastructure Group. Joining us today from the Phoenix Group is the Future of Cayman Steering Committee Chair, Sheen Howe and Neil Rooney. Would you please stand? Phoenix are, and they describe themselves, and let's see if you were as challenged as I was with the description, as Cayman's first vertically integrated group of property development.
That means they design and build and manage what they do.
We listened last night. There you go. Thank you, Samantha. But from their landmark commercial buildings and iconic homes to the smallest renovation or fit out, their cutting edge processes, outstanding people, they say are the keys to their success.
KPMG in the Cayman Islands is one of the leading professional services firms in Grand Cayman with over 200 employees from over 25 countries and 15 partners delivering audit, tax, and advisory services to clients locally and worldwide. Here today from KPMG are Keith Blake and Tully Cormick.
The Department of Environmental Health is a dynamic department with over 140 staff and 8 different sections carrying out roles and responsibilities of protecting the public from environmental health hazards. Each one of these sections employs people with a wide range of knowledge and skills, but all the sections are needed to carry out the functions of the Department of Environmental Health. No. Mr. Roydell Carter and Dr. Mason Salam are here today.
Home Gas and Trenchless Technology, under the Bodden Holdings Limited group of companies, continue to play a key role in the rapid growth of Cayman's expanding infrastructure. Both Home Gas and Trenchless Technology deliver energy and technology alternatives that are environmentally sound and cost-effective. Please welcome Dane Brady and Brad Watts.
The Water Authority of the Cayman Islands is a statutory body responsible for the management of water and wastewater in the Cayman Islands. And we thank you for your support today, Dr. Julia Frederick van Genderen and Tom van Santen, who are also panel members. Would you please stand? No?
From the Cayman Contractors Association, please welcome Richard Purdom and Dean Scott. The Cayman Contractors Association was formed in 1972 by several Caymanian contractors who sought to create uniform standards. For many years, the CCA acted as the only policing body for the construction industry, and clients who chose a CCA member were assured of professionalism, integrity from CCA members. Welcome.
The ERA is a regulatory for the electricity sector of the Cayman Islands and carries out its functions in transparent, reasonable and non-discriminatory manner to protect the interest of the consumers and its licensees, as well as the security and public interest of the Cayman Islands. Wow, that's a mouthful. The ERA is committed to the development of the electricity from renewable sources and to reduce the dependence of the Cayman Islands on diesel fuel. Mr. Louis Boucher and Mr. Joey Banks are here today.
The National Roads Authority's mission is to contribute to sustainable transport and land development in the Cayman Islands by building and maintaining a safe and efficient network of national roads in partnership with Cabinet and the private sector, having regard to national and economic growth strategies. We are pleased to have Julie Campbell, Marian Pandohi, Edward Howard, and Denny Thibault from the NRA with us today.
Last but certainly not least, we would like to recognize DART Cayman Islands for sponsoring both driver group breakout sessions today, as well as participating in 2 of the panel sessions. DART in the Cayman Islands is a dynamic organization, a close-knit family business that is also a global brand, with a portfolio of businesses spanning real estate development, retail, food and beverage, transportation, construction management, and finance. Please welcome Jackie Doak, Mark Van de Velde, and colleagues.
Moving on to our Develop Talent breakout session sponsors. We'd like to first of all thank Butterfield Bank. Butterfield is a diversified financial services group operating in 6 jurisdictions. They develop talent, and this has always been on their agenda. I know this firsthand. So welcome Elizabeth DePledge and Sherry Ebanks.
Founded in November 2003, Cayman Finance, formerly known as Cayman Islands Financial Services Association, was formed to represent the Cayman Islands financial industry. Having reached critical mass in its membership, Cayman Finance is now internationally recognized as a strong central voice for the industry of the Cayman Islands.
The Ministry of Education, Training and Employment, under the leadership of Chief Officer Rodriguez, thank you, Mary, from schools, colleges, and training programs to job placement, labor administration, and pension inspections, the ministry is focused on enabling our people to realize their hopes and dreams of becoming productive and valued members of Caymanian society.
I was so busy acknowledging all the kind comments there, I lost my space. But representing PwC Cayman today is Simon Conway and Craig Smith. Could we ask them to stand? Thank you. PwC Cayman Islands practice has been established for over 40 years with a strong local and regional presence. It focuses on assurance, tax, and advisory services.
And our final sponsor in the Develop Talent Driver Group is the Cayman Islands' most dynamic and fastest growing recruitment and training agency, Stepping Stones Recruitment. Stepping Stones is well positioned to assist any organization identify the new talent their business needs. They are innovative, solution-focused, with a proven record of offering a personal and flexible approach. They also like to make friends and network, so please do make sure you go visit them throughout the day. Please can I acknowledge Millie Sipel and Kira Aspinall from Stepping Stones. So to wrap up our sponsor introductions, we'd also like to thank our coffee break sponsors, Lime and the Office of the Deputy Governor, as well as exhibitors, Civil Aviation Authority and International College of the Cayman Islands. Delighted to say we've got you back on track, and that concludes the sponsorship introductions. I'm going to hand back briefly to Mr. Kirkaldy before we take you through to the rooms for the breakout sessions.
Thank you all very much. Thank you, Mary, Samantha, Tristan, and Barry. Thank you to our sponsors for their commitment and the support of this important economic development partnership. It just simply wouldn't be possible without you. The success of the initiative will be determined by the level of involvement and the motivation of the stakeholders and a willingness to consider innovative thinking and strategies that give our islands a competitive advantage in today's global economy. The purpose of today's forum is not necessarily to reach concrete actions, although we expect a few. It is to refresh the dialogue, to have high-level discussions, to educate participants, to offer networking opportunities, and to promote and secure additional volunteers for all of the driver groups, and to further advance the Future of Cayman Economic Development Initiative. We look forward to seeing everyone back in this room for the session's wrap-up by the co-chairs and the closing address to be delivered today by the Premier, the Honourable Makiva Bush. Just a reminder that we have a coffee break that's scheduled for 11:15. Lunch is at 12:45. Coffee is again at 2:45. We absolutely do not want you to go hungry today. And cocktails following the Premier's closing remarks, as previously mentioned. I would encourage everyone now to move quickly to the respective breakout sessions. We've managed to get it back on track, and those are the reason you're really here. Infrastructure is the room to your left, and Develop Talent is the room to your right, the Cayman Brack room. Thank you all. Have a very productive day.